Hello and welcome to the Burp Nest. We are in the process of communicating with the relevant parties and are fully committed to working this out. That is Suzu, one of the biggest investors in crypto, one of the biggest funds in crypto. And yes, if you haven't been under a rock, you've already heard they are going under or have gone. Well, we will be breaking down what that means for you, what happened, and all that is happening around Three Arrows Capital in this video today. So stick around and you'll find out more. Dark day for crypto. Dark day. Well, that is Zuzu. Three Arrows Capital at their peak managed between 10 and 18 billion dollars in assets under management. That is just huge numbers. Top 10 crypto market cap of any token. So that gives you an idea of their size, their power, what it means for a fund this big to be start to go under. So how did this begin? Well, actually, Moon Overlord, Twitter, he actually started posting a couple interesting swirling rumors, as he says. So are 3AC in trouble? He kind of breaks it down. He noticed that Suzu and Kyle, the two co-founders of Three Arrows Capital, they haven't tweeted in a couple days. Zoo actually took all of the coins off of his profile and bio. He deleted his Instagram, and they actually dumped a lot of staked Ethereum, and they reduced all of their Aave positions. So when you start seeing funds and big players starting to dump and move their money, definitely start to ask some questions. So people think that the largest staked ETH dumper was Celsius, but actually it was Three Arrows Capital, and he actually shared it here. Three Arrows Capital dumping staked ETH, and Celsius was somewhere down here. Millennium Zero, Celsius, there we go. Celsius, all of this is Celsius dumping staked Ethereum, but really Three Arrows Capital were some of the biggest dumpers. So it's something to look out for. They're also on the leaderboard in terms of realized losses on Bitfinex, which is just crazy looking at realized losses minus 31 million. Just what is happening? And yeah, it seems to be confirmed when Suzu said they're in the process of communicating with their relevant parties. They started to consolidate their NFT holdings, which might be interesting. They have a massive art blocks curated collection, super rare foundation collection, and they have a couple other NFTs, which we can track here. So there's a couple different things, but that's not all. Actually, let's continue with this breakdown. So BitMEX and others are exiting Three Arrows Capital amid Three Arrows Capital insolvency fears. What does that mean? Well, anyone that's connected with a ship that is sinking is going to try to cut ties as fast as possible because they don't want to sink with that ship. So what's happening? BitMEX is cutting a lot of their positions from Three Arrows Capital so that one, Three Arrows Capital cannot trade, but also BitMEX won't be exposed to that underside risk or that risk of the existing debt that they're not going to be able to cover. So covering that is something big that has happened. Then this has already kind of backtracking a bit on how this got started. Well, Three Arrows Capital, they actually led one of the biggest raises for Luna to secure UST back in February. They got almost $1 billion in Luna. And that was in order for the Luna Foundation Guard to buy Bitcoin, all that jazz. Something completely crazy is actually later they led another raise. They bought around $600 million worth of Luna that was locked for 2 years. That was right before the crash. Not good. And during the crash, that 600 something million dollars uh, became worth a total of $600 or 650 if we want to get specific. But damn, that's a loss. Um, yeah, I felt bad for my losses. That's just brutal. Um, so they took a huge loss with Luna. Back then, we had mentioned that the fallout of this event hadn't been felt yet. And I think this is one of the bigger players, bigger fallouts, and the fallout of Three Arrows Capital hasn't been felt yet, or is starting to kind of seep out into the world of crypto. Um, the Blockworks actually published an interesting thing because Three Arrows Capital backed protocol says a major chunk of their treasury is unaccounted for. What does this mean? Well, it turns out that Three Arrows Capital was offering a lot of the projects that they helped raise money for, that they invested in. They offered to also manage their funds and their treasury. What does that mean? Well, a lot of projects have a treasury that often just sits there until they need to use it to pay for development or whatever they need to pay with. But most of the time, it's just money that is sitting there. So Three Arrows Capital would say, hey, I will give you an interest on that. You guys give me that money and I will play with it and earn some money for you so that your money is not just sitting there. And while many people thought this was a great idea, because hey, it's Three Arrows Capital, what can go wrong? These guys are pros. Well, turns out they were kind of degens, and now a lot of treasuries are locked. They are not getting responses. So we have yet to see the fallout event on a lot of these protocols getting locked out of their treasury. And it's unclear if it's their whole treasuries, if it's just a small part of their treasury. But it definitely looks like a lot of the projects that Three Arrows Capital was invested in also had their money in Three Arrows Capital. And that just circles back to we're all screwed. Well, let's see kind of the continuation of the fallout. Voyager cuts withdrawal amounts as Three Arrows Capital Contagion ripple through DeFi and CeFi. What does this mean? Well, Voyager is actually an exchange, and they had a huge exposure to Three Arrows Capital. So Voyager had lent 655 million to Three Arrows Capital in a crypto market. They had lent it during crypto, and now that Three Arrows Capital cannot pay that, well, Voyager is in serious trouble. And guess who steps in? SBF. SBF is Sam Bankman-Fried from Alameda Research, FTX. Now it turns out that Alameda and FTX are buying everyone out, bailing out all these failing companies. They're stepping up and saying, hey, we're going to save everyone. Well, that's a little weird because, you're kind of saving falling ships or sinking ships. I don't necessarily agree with what Sam Bankman-Fried's doing. He justifies it down here because, most data suggests that FTX were a major part in the consortium that attacked Celsius. Well, okay. And this is why the users are now executing the short squeeze, trying to liquidate the biggest shorters on FTX. So, it's kind of attacking Alameda, which wouldn't be too far off, saying essentially Alameda was causing Celsius to crash, causing some of these other projects to crash, and shorting them in the process. And then they would come in as a savior after they crashed, saying essentially, hey, we're here to save you. We're going to bail you guys out. Is it too far off? Is it too far-fetched? Right now, it's really just conspiracy theories of Alameda Research kind of crashing some of the crypto market, taking advantage of some of the situations, if you will, and then shorting it down. And as it goes down, they would come back and rescue these projects because they are so nice to the ecosystem. Well, you can kind of draw your own conclusions and agree or disagree. It's a little bit hard to track absolutely everything right now especially because Alameda Research has so many different wallets. They have so many different ways to actually engage in shorts and so on. But on FTX, you can see that they were actively shorting pretty strongly a lot of these projects. So, most importantly, what projects was Three Arrows Capital exposed to? What have they bought into? Well, here is the official list. It is worth noting a lot of these projects they've already sold. They've already had kind of their vesting, and they've already sold their initial tokens. A lot of them, they have a longer vesting. A lot of them, they don't have an amount that is meaningful enough to cause a big price fall. But a lot of them, it could really affect them because, as we mentioned, they were managing a lot of treasuries. So some projects I'll be keeping an eye out on. Definitely Ethereum and Bitcoin have been getting sold pretty hard by Three Arrows Capital. They will be liquidating those assets a lot. Most of the liquidation has already happened. Liquidation as in a fire sale. Most of that has already happened because Bitcoin and Ethereum are the most liquid of all these assets. What's that mean? It means they're the easiest to sell. So Ethereum and Bitcoin have already been mostly sold. Then kind of the bigger cap coins, Near, Avalanche, Kusama, Polkadot, Solana. Those I had to be careful with, but it seems that most of their selling has already happened with these big cap coins. I'd still be a little careful with future unlocks. Some of these projects have a lot of unlocks left. Some of them don't have so many unlocks left. So we're going to have to be tracking all of the unlocks of these different projects. And then we go into the smaller projects. You know, you got Synapse, you got FutureSwap, Orca, Neon. So all of these different smaller projects definitely had big investment from Three Arrows Capital. And it's going to be very interesting to track how it develops in the future because we're only getting bits and pieces as the story develops. For example, Voyager going under or needing a bailout, or different projects kind of needing this help, or just going under and needing the bailout. So as the story develops, we will try to keep you informed. If you're not already in the Burb Nest, check out that trial link, 7 days. You can join the Discord. I've been posting updates about Three Arrows Capital, about Celsius, about the great crypto Contagion. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that is happening around this situation, make sure to join the Discord because it's in development. It's happening now, and I can't give you the full information because it's still happening. So as of right now, that was the story so far on Three Arrows Capital. It seems they are going under, and it seems there is still some projects left to be sold. Some semi good news. There are talks that someone could actually buy out the fund, and that also means they're buying out that debt, which means that debt will somehow be paid. Until that happens, you cannot be sure, and you mostly have to assume that there's going to be another fire sale. So keep your eye out, be careful out there, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.